call it precision engineering, to be honest, but I'm sure the whole thing will hold together in the end. Nice slow speed. Giving the stand a few coats of this nice water-based wood preserver, similar to the xylophane wood preserver that you get in France. It seems to be pretty effective and it's nice and easy to apply. So I'm now I'm in the process of transferring the holes that I've drilled in the drum through onto the box section steel legs from inside the drum, and for that I'm going to use white acrylic paint with a small brush. I'm going to be honest here, the hole positions aren't great. I could have built a really solid jig for the drill press to hold this drum steady, but I decided to wing it a bit and eyeball it, and what's happened is that the holes aren't in perfect alignment. Some of them are quite far out actually, so instead of being able to do it all by measuring, I'm having to transfer the holes. It's not going to look so wonderful, but it's certainly not going to affect the functionality of this. It's rock solid. The story so far. Transferred through with paint. These legs are too long, I think. I'll have to cut them back if my saw will do that, and if it won't, I'll have to take them and get them cut. And there's the piece of oak with its last coat of wood preserver, drying in the sun. Soon be ready to stand the anvil on it. Been watching that series The Expanse recently. This reminds me of the afterburner of one of these great looking spaceships in that programme. Now look at this bad girl. It's a pretty solid piece of kit. I have to say I'm pretty pleased with it. The only thing that I'm not satisfied with is the alignment of these bolts, caused by trying to drill into the side of that brake drum, a massive heavy brake drum, without a proper jig to keep it straight. But you know, it adds character. It makes no difference to the functionality of the thing. And by God, is it heavy. As I've said before, there'll be a big cone of refractory cement in here. I'm going to change all the fixings to stainless, excuse me, I've decided. And I may shorten the legs, but the thing is the anvil's going to be on this raised bit and the forge is going to sit down there, so I'm not going to be in too much of a rush to cut anything off the legs until I actually have tried it. But all in all, very nice, and it's a kind of rocket powered barbecue as well. It'll work well for that. Yay, roll on the summer. So, I'd say that's a bit of progress, wouldn't you? Pretty pleased with that. Lots of heavy metal there. It's not so far off now with the time we can start using it. Just need to get that forge finished with its refractory cement, connected up to the blower, the anvil levelled up. She's looking pretty handsome there, but leaning back too much. It's never going to be perfect, I think, but there's a bit of shimming required under that log, I think, on top of these bits of steel. But overall, pretty handsome. I like it. So I'm going to make a ring to attach round the legs of the forge, in which hooks will be inserted to hang tools from. I think it'll look quite nice as well. And to bend that ring of flat mild steel bar, I'm going to use this ring rolling, bending, and I think riveting tool as well. Anyway, multiple purpose tool, but it certainly rolls rings. I've used it for making like fire baskets and things like that in the past. It's a nice bit of kit, so I'll get going on that now. My workshop at this point in time is little more than a cluttered storage cupboard. That's because I'm going to be building a new bench for my lathe, so everything's been turfed out and it's just impossible to work in here really. But one of the great things about this setup is that, well, this metal bending tool is meant to be mounted directly to the bench. I don't have the room to fix these things to my bench, but it's good to hold in the vise. And this is a tilting and swivelling vise, and when you have a long piece of steel to bend in a very limited space, it's a godsend to be able to tilt it to different angles to make your bends. So it's going okay. So let's see what we can do with that. Oh, looks quite good as a jury-rigged mock-up. Needs a bit of fiddling and fettling though, but that won't be too difficult. The whole thing's got the kind of air of a, I don't know, a kind of 1930s sci-fi satellite, probably Russian in origin. I like it. Here we go, cut the size somewhat. A couple of wee bits of offcut there that I can maybe have a go at bashing when I get set up. And well, you know, you've seen an angle grinder working before. So I've just marked out the ends where they overlap with a white pencil, front and back. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it off and then push the hoop just a bit further, a bit tighter than the white lines, just to make it a bit snugger around the legs of the forge, then reclamp it and then mark out and drill 2 holes for screws and nuts, and then I'll have a hoop. Like this, you see, get the drift. I won't do it one-handed, so I'll go off camera again. I've left my tripod in France. Not good, especially with coronavirus. God knows when I'll be able to go over and get it back. There we go. Okay. Project Learn to Weld is another day's work. I've been to classes twice and still haven't learned, so I just need to really get stuck in and give it a go. But this is not the time. That's another job. Look. Stable. Position and then mark out for drilling so that I can fix it to the legs. And it's not so tight that it's lost its stability. Good. So, to be honest, I think this over-engineered bad girl is coming on quite nicely. Overall, that's the tool hanging ring in situ. It's going to have pegs sticking out of it, and it's all marked out for the position of these pegs and for screws to screw to the main frame, so it'll all be rock solid. Cool. I'm getting covers made for the anvil and the forge, PVC, made to measure covers, custom. Cost me a bit of money, but I think, you know, if I want these things to last, I need them, because I don't have any room for any of this in any building that I've got. It's outdoor stuff. It's an outdoor extension to my workshop. So now I'm making holes in the circular tool hanging ring for the forge. There's 3 bigger holes, N8, which I'm going to use as clearance holes for screws to screw the ring to the legs of the forge, and then there's a whole bunch of smaller holes at M6 which I'm tapping M6 so that I can screw in some kind of hooks with an M6 thread on them, which I'll either look for bespoke or maybe make myself, all round thing. And the ring shape's quite nice, as it fits neatly over the table of the drill press and just hangs there and keeps itself kind of straight. And I've made a hole, you can see there, under the ring, and the piece of wood is somewhere for the tap to go once it gets through the metal. So I'll get on with that off camera. Here it is in bits again, ready for a quick and dirty paint job. Not going to obsess too much over this, just to basically protect it. This is going to be an outdoor forge, so rough, but some protection will suffice. And all of these are galvanised fixings, which I thought better of and decided to replace with stainless steel. So that was a bit of a waste of money, but I'm sure I'll use them for something. But I just felt, seeing it's outdoor, we might as well go stainless. Trouble is, even stainless will set up a kind of electrolytic reaction with the other metals, but I don't really see much of a way around that. There is some stuff that you can get, in fact I've got some, it's green stuff that prevents that, or at least tones it down, so that's what I'll do. On with the paint job. So a quick wipe over with this French equivalent of methylated spirits, which is colourless and much cheaper than the purple stuff you get here. A quick wipe over to degrease, and then touch up the bare metal with red oxide primer, and then red spray paint for the drum and grey for the legs. That's it.